Alrighty then. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Priscilla. So for today, we're going to do a tutorial because a special, amazing movie is going to be coming out this Friday, May 6th. It is Civil War. Marvel is doing a movie called Civil War where it's basically Iron Man and Captain America have a huge hissy fit. So they call in their friends, they pick sides, and basically we all get the choice to pick a side. Are we Team Captain America or Team Iron Man? Well, this is for Team Captain America today. So I thought it'd be really fun if I taught you guys how to do a silhouette Captain America watercolor piece. Now it's kind of really awesome. It's easy. So first we're going to start with teaching you how to make the silhouette. Now I'm using my F lead-based pencil. So that means that the pencil, the graphite in this pencil goes on pretty light. So I'm going to draw straight onto my watercolor paper. Watercolor paper I'm using is the Strathmore 300 series. And you can find this at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So it's going to basically take up the whole page. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start off with making a circle up here. After we make this circle up here, what you're going to do is you're just going to go down on each side of the circle, so right here and here as well. Then what you're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make his shoulders. So basically his shoulders are going to be like this. And I'm lightly going on with my pencil, so they go out slightly this way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bring down one side here, and one side is here as well. Now just to figure out his stance, what you're going to do is we're going to go to each side of where this one is slightly going out this way and this one's slightly going downward. So I'm going to come from right here and right here. And we're just going to bring these two together like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to make this circle part. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and make this circle part as well. So now we ultimately have this all put together. Now let's just jump down here for a second. And we're going to go ahead and draw the rest of his arm. From this circle, you're going to build up another circle from here. And then from right here, you have this circle and this circle. Now we're going to make this circle like this. Curve this inward, curve upward, and this way, like that. Now what you're going to do for the middle is you're going to draw a line right there. So we're going to draw this line, bring it out, make it nice and rectangle-ish. Now what you're going to do is you're going to come down from right here and right here. And you're going to draw. Can I kind of close that off with a bit of an oval shape? After your oval shape, you're going to go ahead and make one line here and just a little bit separated from over here, make another line. Then what you're going to do is you're going to bring down this side and make a bit of a circle like this. And a bit of a circle like this as well. Next, you're going to go ahead, we're just going to make like the top of his boots. So we have his thighs. Now we're going to go ahead and make this part. So this would be his knee. This is his knee as well. And then we bring this down and up. Bring this down, all the way down. You want to make sure they keep that good width apart. And of course, we're going to shape this up to make them look more like boots. But you just want to make sure that you have his thighs, his knees, and those boots. Now let's jump to this arm right here. We're not going to see this side of his arm as much as we see this side of his arm, of course, because over here, we're going to go ahead and just draw right there, extend it right there, and then we're going to start his shield up here. and it's going to be in the shape of an oval. So draw that really big oval. It's going to come down all the way to right here. Big, large. Big shield. Alright. Main focus you want to make sure that you have is, of course, the star here and the star here, so we know who it is, especially with the watercolor colors once we get to that part. Now let's start shaping up the whole silhouette. For his face, you're going to bring this down, inward. You're going to go outwards, back in, and you're just going to bring this down. You're going to bring out his chin. This is his chin. This represents his nose. This is the top of his actual helmet that he wears. Round this back down. He will have a large head just because he's got that helmet on. So this goes inward, out, back in, and into his neck. To help you out a little bit, the A would go right there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to shape up his shoulders. Now, his shoulder, we have this neck's a little bit straighter on this side, and this neck's being a little bit chopped off by his shoulder over here. Now, we're going to go ahead and give him his straps that he has on his suit. So we're just going to make a little bump here and a little bump here, and it goes into his neck. And then, of course, we go straight here. And this goes straight on his shoulder. Bring this down. And we're going to make a little bit of a box shape here. And you're going to go ahead and keep going downward. Like this. And then right here, you're going to make a bump. And just to make sure you have the same bump, jump on the other side and make that bump as well. Bring it down, go inward. Once again, we're going to go inward. Right here, you see how I'm curving this part inward. And then we're going to straight box it off right there. Go inward, go up, very boxy. We're going to get a little boxy here as well. Make that nice and boxy. So we have this is going like this angle, this is boxy, this is curved inward. This part right here is curved inward. And you're going to go back to the part, this is the top part of his glove. Make sure his part goes inward, and this part goes into his body. We're just putting all his muscles together. So if we were to go in and get rid of those guidelines, you can see an arm shape going on. Now we're going to jump to right here where this part's sticking outward just a bit, and then it's going to go straight down. So it's outward and down, and then this will ultimately go out into his utility belt, or just his belt. It's not a utility belt. Just his belt goes down and it blends into right there. Let's get the other side of his chest while we're here. So you're going to go inward. This will go outward, but you still want to keep that nice and round, and this will be nice and round as well. So this goes downward and inward and into that utility belt. I'm just going to call it a utility belt. Like this. And of course down here, we're going to go ahead and shape. So this one, or this side basically just blends downward. This side goes inward just a bit, and then downward. And then you're going to jump in, and we're just going to blend all the rest of this together because this is basically just straightforward. So after this goes inward and down, so this is his thigh on this side, and then this part will go outward, as same for this side. And then right here, since these kind of go out, they kind of look similar to like some pirate boots going on, but it's just like the out. It is the part of his suit that is just being tucked inside of his boot. And then this will go just a little downward, like this. This is pretty much the same. This part goes in, and we get to the part of his suit that's sticking outside of his boot. And we're going to line that boot. So this is the top of his boot. Give that a little indication of the top of it. And downward. This is going to go down, so give him that shoulder and behind the shield. We have one circle here. Now the thing with this circle is it's going to be wide from right here, and it's going to be nice and skinny on this side. Of course, we're just going to draw the same exact shape. What we're going to do is we're going to draw a star, make it skinny. We're going to go upward with this side, down, and up. And then we're going to jump right in here of his chest. Make the same star, but it's nice and flat. And we can erase those lines afterwards to make it look like it's all blended in together a little bit more. Let's go ahead and get rid of the inside lines of the silhouette. Okay, so the next step I want to do was I have a kneaded eraser here. You can get these at any art stores around you, like Michael's. This one's from Hobby Lobby. So what I'm going to do is, since I have these really dark lines and I eventually want them to go away, kneaded erasers are really nice that they can practically erase anything. So this is definitely an art supply that you want to have in your collection as an artist. So I'm just going to go around. And it lightly, you see how I'm lightly taking it away, but I'm leaving it, some of it behind, so that I can have those guidelines to push my paint around. Next thing is I have my watercolors. So I use koi watercolors that I get from Hobby Lobby or Amazon. So I have a wide variety of brushes, of brush ranges and sizes. So obviously what I want to do first is go ahead and give my Captain America silhouette a nice little background. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of my light blue and I'm going to go ahead and just line around my Captain America. Now this is going to be really similar to like how I do my Galaxy watercolor, like any of my Galaxy watercolors, but we're going to use actual colors for Captain. So what we're going to do is, we know that his suit is basically, it's like a royal blue, dark blue. It always is different in range of colors of blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, even if it bleeds into my other color, that's okay, because we have like our first layer. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to do his old suit, like the original that he had back in the olden days. So I'm going to go ahead and put where I know all his blue is. And yes, I'm going to cover up just his, even if it blends in, that's okay. You want to make sure you just make it that nice first coat, so it's a very thin layer, so I can still see my actual pencil lines. And I'm just going to go like this, where I push it around outside, and then it'll bleed in. As you get darker with layers, it'll start to form more of an actual body, and you have like this figure standing there. It's really, really cool. So I'm going to get a little bit of this and mix it together. And it's always nice if you see some puddles that you're like, oh my gosh, no. It's always nice to have a paper towel on duty So I'm just blot this right there. And just to highlight the whites a little bit more, I'm going to drag down just a bit right here. It's not as blue. I'll go ahead and I'll blot that just a bit, just so it has some nice shadows, just so it's not straight up white. So you can see how my blue is still pretty wet in its first layer and everything. That's when I want it to bleed a little bit. So I'm going to grab my red and I'm going to go over here. And since it's the first layer, you want to make it fairly thin and you want to make sure you can still see those pencil marks. So you see how it's bleeding into his arm and making that purple color? That's okay, that's what we want. That's what makes it really cool looking. So I'm going to go over here. Make this stripe, this stripe, this stripe. Yes, we do want that purple color, nice and thin, first layer. And this is supposed to be looking pretty abstract. This is just a fun, easy watercolor if you're Team Captain America. Okay, so this is when my colors are still pretty wet. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pushing around a few more colors and everything. So I'm going to actually jump to his head and start making the shape of his head a little bit more profound, that profile. I'm actually going to grab some of my dark blue and I'm going to start mixing that into some places. What you want to do is you always want to keep adding watercolors. I know that the sides look splotchy and everything, but you kind of want that feel to where it does look like a figure, but it also looks like this shadowy figure. So it looks, right now it looks pretty shadowy. So now I'm gonna wait, let this entire layer dry, and then I'm gonna come back and then I'm gonna start putting on like some final layers to actually make it look like that silhouette, and how you see how everything's bleeding together. This is ultimately, like I said, the first layer, and watercolor is based upon layers and layers and layers. Good, successful watercolors are made up of a lot of layers. If you look at any watercolor, you will look at it and you will study it and you will see that it is just not one layer that looks like this. It's all built up on layers and everything, and it's just shadows and stuff like that. There's always something you have to keep in mind with watercolor. And for the best results, you could go ahead and you could reach over and grab a hair dryer or something to dry it to quicken up the process more. But when you actually let the puddle sit, like up here, you see this puddle up here, how it's just sitting? It's actually, if you just let it go ahead and do its thing up all by itself and not blotch it out or anything, then it's going to dry out to look really, really cool and have an awesome texture. And that's the magical thing about watercolor. It has a mind of its own. So let's go ahead and we're just going to let this whole layer sit, and then we're going to jump in with some final layers and start piecing him together so he does look like that silhouette. Alright, now that we've waited for this to dry, what I'm going to go ahead and do is get some of that red paint, and I'm going to go and get that second layer going. And this is where we're going to start to make those shapes really stand out. As you can see, I'm not fully like coloring with my paintbrush. I'm not fully filling in like these parts, just because I want to come back after this is dry with another layer of red, and then it's just like it goes on top of this red, makes it darker, and it just looks really, really cool. So I'm gonna just keep going around and doing the exact same technique with the reds. Now, while I'm waiting for my reds to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and grab that blue, all my blue, so I have my royal blue and everything, and now I'm gonna do what I did with the reds, but I'm still gonna go ahead and give it those dark, hard lines so we can start to see our figure. What I'm doing right now is I'm grabbing some of my Persian blue, that's my darkest blue that I have from my watercolor set, and I'm going around and I'm adding to where I just placed all that royal blue, and I'm just dabbing it with my Persian blue, and it'll just blend in with each other. And that way it gives it a really cool texture as well as it's making its figure, its actual silhouette popping a little bit more. It just gives the blue a lot of different variations, and you see how I'm keeping this up here just a bit. This is probably my final layer for this painting. I'm gonna go ahead, grab my Persian blue once again, and this is the final layer that I'm making, and of course it's gonna be the darkest one, and it'll be the shadows, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go around where my pencil marks are and make those areas very dark. Now this could be your final step if you want to, but I'm just gonna be typical me. So I have some white gouache right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in a few spots that are still pretty damp with water. And that way we get some weird looking blotches of white up and everywhere. So it just looks really cool sometimes. Well, there you guys go. There is a fun little silhouette watercolor tutorial on good old Captain America. I hope you guys go and see Civil War if you're a Marvel fan. I know I'm definitely going to see it tonight at 10:15, so I'm really excited to see it! So yes. No spoilers for anyone, okay guys? Don't spoil the fun for anybody. But yes, I hope this was helpful. This technique is very similar to how I do my galaxy animals. If you follow me on Instagram, then you've seen how I'm doing my own portfolio collection of galaxy animals. This technique is almost exactly the same, except with my galaxy animals, it takes a lot more time and it's a ton more layers and there's a lot more white dots everywhere. So yeah guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Go see Civil War, and I will see you all very soon with a 100,000 video. Bye! Hey guys, thank you so much for stopping by Dramatic Parrot today. Make sure you click on that subscribe button, and hey, if you liked this video today, make sure you hit that like button as well. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all the fun stuff, and like my Facebook page. And if you haven't seen it already, I have started a VloggityVlogVlog channel on WunderlandGurl, so make sure you go ahead and check that out and subscribe to that channel as well. Other than that, I will see y'all later. Bye!